Let's start the chapter. It's chapter 2. Selling on chapter 3, I'm sorry. Selling on the web, electronic commerce. Now, the learning objective of this chapter is what are revenue model and how companies use various revenue models. What characteristics identify a specific revenue model? How some companies experiment with alternative revenue model to achieve the success, and about revenue strategy choices that company faces when selling online. And we can download or look at the OG because there are also different revenue models there. How to create an effective business presence on the web. What factor enhance website usabilities? How companies use the web to connect with customers. So the first thing we want to see is giving the demand for photo and video storage in the old days. Offering storage service which seems like an ideal online business. So you give them, like the cloud. And decreasing cost of the storage space and highly bandwidth internet connections, good indication to do that. Many businesses do offer free or low-cost services. The digital storage and the internet connection are commodities, so it would be difficult for any of them to compete as the lowest cost providers because as everybody start using it, make it available. So the competition start thinking on other features and to compete on that and not at the cost. Google in 2015 launched Google Photo. There were they designed to provide the most wanted features. Google developers combined the technical capabilities with the research on how the customer interact with technology. By combining their technology with the customer information, development team could enable service to organize photo automatically. So it's not only a storage, it's more advanced technology. You give more features to Google Photos. There is a revenue models when you're building a website or trying to do business in a website, and web businesses revenue generation models can be a web catalog, could be a digital catalog, it could be advertising supported, could be supporting subscriptions mix, or could be a free base. And the web catalog and digital catalog, we can bring Ch3.com, probably one of the pioneers in this field. Some model can work for both of these B2C or B2B, both sales types. Web catalog revenue models can be adapted from older catalog models. Sellers establish a brand image, printed information mailed to prescription buyers, order placed by mail or phone. So that can be done this way too. Now, Some discount stores or discount deals. Some discounters began as a retailer operation online, like buy.com, which is known as a Rakuten now. The traditional retailers now using the web catalog revenue, like Costco, Kmart, and Walmart, they do have traditional retail using the web catalog revenue model. All have found online sales to be important to overall revenue and profit, different degrees. It's also helped them to use multiple channels for marketing. It allows more customers to be reached at a lower cost. Marketing channel examples, like you have, the physical stores, the website, and the mail catalog or newspapers insert. Here we can see that the two retailers examples, you can have a combination to reach to the customers, which is physical stores and website, or it could be a mail catalog and a website too. Now, the free for content revenue models, there is a fee for it, for the content that you're publishing. And a good example is Gartner, and Canadian example is Tech. Firms owning written information or information rights. Embrace the web as a highly efficient distribution mechanism. You go there, you pay, and you get access to this information or the right for the information. And use the digital content revenue, the right to access the information, then own it. They own it. Then you have others like a legal, academic, business, and technical content. Good examples is LexisNexis, which is offer a variety of information service for the lawyers and law enforcement. And then you have a subscription and individual access right to online academic and journals and others. We find, you have to pay for this. Like I believe economics. Others is like academic information aggregation services, purchase and sell, resell, write, and subscription packages. These are all different ways of models for revenues to school, libraries, companies, and nonprofit. And then you have electronic books are available also from several providers in various formats. And always we saw that these days, like physical and electronic book will always going to be coexist for years to come. If we look at the online music, it's another market, interesting market, did not take off very quickly. And recording industry is slow to embrace it. Then we have largest stores today, Amazon MP3, Apple's iTunes, and Google Play. There is other coming in the market. And there, what you do, some kind of a subscription service to stream music, like a Shopify, Spotify, Raspberry, Pandora, the one I usually use, SoundCloud. There were in the music industry early complications, like no single store offer all the music, so different music. Individual stores prompt their own music files, formats. Technically, some artists or recording companies partner with the specific stores or just boycotting online sales together. See the commercial about that idea. And then when we had digital rights management softwares, which is intended to curtail the music piracies, mitigate music piracies, Amazon app MP3 stores first who offer this kind of support, which is DRM-free MP3 format. Music industry today is taking off, doing well. Reports increased sales in 2013 in the first time in 14 years. One of the jumps that happens, I believe, major adjustment. The Korean song came in where there was no system to record them, and got a lot of hits. So the musicians start thinking of having their songs online too, kind of style. So sold or rented today, and either downloaded or streamed. Many pay and a free provider, including like in the videos, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, HBO, Showtime, and YouTube. These are videos usually and films online. Then you have one of the other models, which is advertising supporting models. And it's used in the North America by USA broadcast networks, provide a free programming and advertising messages there. Get a free programming, but you get an advertisement and usually support the network operations sufficiently. The online advertising challenges that they are facing is really difficulty measuring and charging the site visitors' views. How much is worth if this person coming and visiting your site? Keeping the visitors all the site and attracting repeated visitors. Sometimes it's important to expose them to more advertisement. The general interested strategy, which is a mass advertisement we saw in Yahoo, Google, and Bing, present search term triggered. When you do a search, you get an advertisement triggered by advertisement, especially pay-per-click. And there is other site, which is knowledge domains like CNET, Kayak, which is have some kind of a target advertisement. So in general, there is what you call general interest strategy, one ad targeting everybody, one to mass. And then the specific interest strategy, which is you're targeting specific group to come in. And then you have one-to-one advertisement or specific interest, and they are customized advertisement for each. And when you see open Google or Yahoo, you would see banners, general banners, and then specific banners. It depends on where you've been, which sites you've been searching or information that they collected from you. So what do we have? We have advertising supported, most or all content free to all visitors, and they get paid through the advertising. And then we have advertising subscription mix supported, which is substantial content free to all visitors. And the other type is most of the content available only to subscribers. These are some samples. We can look at it. to see the differences here. How would they do different way of revenue model in advertisements? Fee for transaction revenue models. We have a lot of MVAS. They need some kind of a payment, and we see that if they take fee, some of it probably going to see it also in OG, kind of a fee. So service fee charged based on the transaction numbers or size. Probably when you want to wire money internationally, there is apps online. You can download them and they charge you for fee, transaction. And then you have the insurance brokers also, and the stock brokerage firms do that too. And then we have what you call the event tickets. And these are in charge of selling the tickets. Web allows event promoters to sell tickets from one virtual location to customers worldwide, and establish agencies like Ticketmasters earn a fee on every ticket was sold and sold. And then you have a StubHub, which is web-created secondary ticket market, which is brokers connecting the owners, the ticket owners with the buyers. And they get some commission on that. And then you have online banking and financial service, which is no physical product. Neo Finance is one of them. Coho is one of them. No physical product, so easy to offer on the web. So it's slow to take off this to concerns about the security because financials and personal data. There is existing bank started offering services online, and the new online banks, which is Coho and New Finance, started that had no bank affiliations. Well, they do now. In Canada, they have to. Traditional travel agencies, so there is what we are involved in it. In the financial is a stack, technology. We'll talk about that. Traditional, but here what we talk about, there's the industries of travel. Am I thinking of a traditional travel agency's revenue model was receiving from facilitating a transaction? Online travels site generated revenue enough today. So commission buying and selling airline seats and hotel rooms and advertisement. And today, the traditional travel agent, what do they do? They were squeezed out, so they are focusing more into, cruise or a combination of businesses. And then we have the automobile sales. These are industries, general industries, which is firms such as Edmond.com, which is a provide information service for car buyers. There's other sites available who does that too. And then real estate and mortgage loans, brokerage firms, and individual real estate brokers use the website to solicit businesses. We see that in realtor.com, but no online transaction, but joining buyers and sellers most of the time because the transaction is a huge, and it's a B2C also. So most of real estate brokers have a strong online presence. Then out of all these, we have something called a strategic alliance. Two companies join together to be on the website. Two or more probably join force to undertake an activities, and that's for a long term. Amazon has formed several strategic alliances like that, like Target to sell clothing. CD Now is to sell music CDs. Many smaller companies also are there. in Amazon website for drop shipping also. Then you have luxuries, good service. So you've seen industries are not all same to be online, which is a product can be difficult to sell online because customers wants to see the product in person or touch it. Brand hesitate to sell online for a fear of alienating upscale physical stores. They don't, it's because upscale physical stores usually, offer more than this online services, and they don't want to get rid of these upscale ones because they are good sellers. Some sites limit online offering, like Chanel, for many reasons, only offers probably some fragrance and some skin care only. But these days, we see jewelry sales have grown rapidly in recent years, like a Blue Nile, Icecom, Costco also are successful due to the availabilities of independent appraisals certificate. So somebody independent comes and appraise it, and then and no question asked return policies also. And we do have what you call overstock strategies, and some companies are specialized in this, but now major ones also start opening their own website for overstocks products. So selling overstock items as a clearing specialist on website allow the retailers like Land's End to close some of its physical outlet. Many retail websites include links to separate sections for overstock and clearance. So they have different things online there. So since there is a different industries, the next question comes in, how we can create an effective business presence online. There is what you call the public image conveyed to the stakeholders. So there is a public image. You as a company want to have a public image that conveyed to the stakeholders. But who is the stakeholder? The stakeholders are the customers, suppliers, employees, stakeholders, owns the company sometimes, some of them, neighbors, and the general public. But most of the companies actually are not that concerned in the beginning on that image until start growing significantly. So the effective web present critically even for the smallest and newest operating firms too. And you will see that like Walmart pays a very close attention to their image. If you go to their website, they will always on the first page, you would see that where they are donating or how they are helping the communities. That image is important. So let's take a look at this. When you build a website, you have to establish a strategy objective, and according to the objective, you build your strategies. And in your objective, you might have attracting visitors to the website, which is one of your strategy could be including links to the website or specific pages in a marketing emails. Your objective might be making the site interesting enough that visitors stay and explore. It could be product reviews, comparisons, advice on how to use the product. Go through this web present objectives and strategies and start building your own objectives and strategies of how to reach these objectives too. Now, if we look at the Pepsi and Coke, different firms, even with the same industries, which is Pepsi and Coke, establish different web presence goals. So there should be a goals and objective there. For example, Coca-Cola website page usually include a trusted corporate image like the Coca-Cola, the Coke bottle. On the other hand, you see the website, Pepsi website pages contain hyperlinks to activities and product-related promotion. The web presence usually convey the image company wants to present. And probably at Bill University, we had to spend time to create their web between a combination of Harvard and London School of Economics as their website. Most auto manufacturers' website convey a consistent image brand. Now, we also need to see the website usabilities. Few businesses accomplish all goals with the current web presence because not all the goals can be accomplished through the web presence. Most fail to provide this various sufficient interactive contacts opportunities. And usually there is a problems with their designing of website or search engine optimization or other tools that is needed there. But it can be improved web presence by making sites accessible to more people and easier to use. It always has to improve that. Website needs to encourage visitors. They should trust their site and foster feeling of loyalty toward the organization. So they have to trust you and also loyal to your organization too. Why visitor arrive for website? For many reasons. So the varied motivation of website visitors, we can see that some of our people go there to learning about the company product or service. Some of them are planning to buying a product or services. Some of them wants to obtain the warranty services and repair policies information, obtaining general companies information. They might want to obtain financial information, identifying people and obtaining contact information, following a link for related information. There's many reasons for why people will come to a website. Addressing the need help convert visitors into the customers. So if you're providing these needs, you're probably gonna have be able to convert these visitors to customers too. Business websites need to offer easily accessible facts about the organization, how often you get on the site, and it's so confusing. We avoid these, allow visitors to experience the site in a different ways and at a different level, provide visitors with a meaningful two-way interactive communication link with the organization, has to be sustained visitors' attention and courage so they don't leave. And when they leave, they come back, and offer easily accessible information about products and service and how to use them. Looking at different providers, Cengage versus Pearson versus other book providers, you can tell today which one is easier to really allocate your information. And once it's easier to allocate, most of the time, it's easier for you to purchase or be a client there. Customer-centric website design. And that's pretty much arguable most of the time. You look at the results and can be really different from one side to another side. The important part of successful electronic business operation, the customer-centric. It focuses on meeting all site visitors' needs. So the visitors comes in, whatever their need should be, and in that industry, it should be meeting their need, and should have a guideline for the site design and access. Makes visitor web experience more efficient, easy, effective, and memorable. A special consideration also need to be taken for mobile devices because there is a more usage of mobile today. Web designers should create site focus on customer buying processes rather than the company perspective. So you look at the customer behavior for buying, how they buy things, and focus on that than company perspectives if you're trying to sell through the website. There is a different nature for communication on the website. When you create your website, it has a different nature. One is kind of a mass media characteristic of communication mode, like a mass media, which is one to too many communication models. And usually seller is active, buyer is a passive, and one person is to too many of them. And then you have the personal contacts also, which is one-to-one communications models, like the real estate, interchange in the framework of existing a trust relationship, tech probably is also. And then you have one-to-one, many-to-one, and many-to-many communication models, which is, we can see it in the next slide, how they are different. You have one to too many, one seller targeting thousands or millions of viewers and risk to that. And then you have one seller, but it is many to one and many to many because you're sending this information to this, but in the same time, you're hoping other will be sending it to him. So that's one, many, many to one, or many to many, something like that. And then you have what you call one-to-one, which is salesperson and customer prospects. That's the end of hopefully you have some kind of an understanding now how to strategize when you're building a website. Thank you very much.